Hello, and welcome back to the next episode of Overcome Yourself, the podcast. As you know, my name is Nicole, and I'm so excited to be here today with Amy. Now, Amy is a coach, and take it away because you do a lot of different things, and I know you have some certifications. So, Amy, please introduce yourself and tell us who you are and who you help.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Nicole. I'm so excited to be here. So, I currently am a holistic self-improvement coach, and that has been probably my favorite role to date outside of motherhood and all of those beautiful things. But career-wise, holistic self-improvement has been genuinely one of the biggest blessings in my life to be able to help people in a way that is holistic. So, I fell in love with the word holistic, meaning everything affects everything else. So, as much as we would love to separate our love life from our work life, from our parent life, and all of those things, they all affect one another. And so, that's what holistic means. And I actually fell in love with that word when I was on a health journey. So, I grew up with chronic illness, I grew up with endometriosis, and I mean, it's a whole book that we could open, but it's a chronic inflammatory disease that is female related. And it was genuinely devastating for a lot of my life. I was in chronic pain all the time. I had gone through surgeries, medications, hormone therapies, and all of these crazy things. But what really helped me begin to heal and become pain free was embodying the fact that everything is affecting everything else. And when I would go and see doctors, they would just want to talk to me about one part. Ah, how's your uterus doing? And it was like, okay, when I finally saw a doctor who was a naturopath, he said, well, what about your gut health? What about your liver? What about your stress? How is your sleep? And that combined with I have a background in anatomy and physiology myself, just really helped me piece together all of these beautiful pieces. And so I started looking at my internal environment as a community, not just separate pieces. And then I extended that further into, okay, how is my external environment infecting my internal environment and vice versa? And that expanded even more. So through that, I was able to not only become pain free, but I stepped into speaking into women's health as a public speaker, I got to do all of these beautiful things. But that led me to creating my own program, which led me to helping even more women. But even as I was speaking into these women's lives, I saw that there was still a piece missing. As much as they loved learning about their bodies and hearing what I have to say, it was more about me sounding good and sounding really smart rather than being good and being able to help these women to the deepest level. And that's where more was needed, more holistic was needed. And so when I started tapping into self improvement and more mental health, and yes, I always address stress. Stress was the biggest actually component of my program for women because it affects your hormones so much. But I started working with Kevin and Alan at Next Level University. And I was like, oh, here is how I'm going to expand how I help people because I started to learn about self belief and self worth and fulfillment and all of these different pillars that I can see show up as a positive or a detriment in any journey that anyone is on, whether it be health, monetary success, relationships. And so I started to kind of deep dive in with these guys. Initially, they brought me on as their MC for their live events because they saw I was a public speaker. And it just proliferated from there. So now I am assistant coach and director of group coaching at Next Level University. I have my own coaching program, Holistic Self Improvement, through them. And we do just a lot of other daily self improvement things behind the scenes. I run the Facebook group. We do free book clubs, monthly meetups, and it's all kind of come together into where I am now.
That is amazing. That is so cool. And I love the journey, right? And how we have to do things one step at a time. Like you couldn't jump from where you were in pain to running what you're running right now. Like you had to go step by step. And as you were able to, I don't want to say resolve, but as you were able to face what was going on, put a name to it, then now that's like taken care of as much as it can be, right? And then but then we can focus on something that's a little bit bigger, right? And I it makes me think of my back pain. So I was in a boat accident when I was about 9 years old, and then Nothing happened until I was 21 and I finally went to a doctor and they were like, "Hey, you have a back of a disabled elderly woman." And so I thought that I had three different problems. I thought that I had shoulder pain, I had mid back pain, and I had lower back pain. But that wasn't the case. The lower back pain was cascading all the way up because the rest of my body was trying to support the bottom part, right? And so I love how you talk about how everything is connected because it is. So tell me a little bit about that journey. Tell me a little bit more about that connectedness.
Yeah, so let's go. So I used to give a presentation at events called Holistic Healing for Your Hormones. And women would love what I had to say. They felt so seen talking about their hormones, talking about their cycles, things they didn't know, struggles that they had that they could connect other women with. Because I think we feel really alone in those things sometimes, when in reality,
Mhm.
like 9 out of 10 or 8 out of 10 women on average suffer with one of these things related to their hormones. And then they would do really well with the principles I had given them for a little while, but they would kind of just fall away and they wouldn't keep implementing it into their lives, or they felt the need to just stop, or however it was, whatever their story was. And I kept going back to, why is that? What is going on here? I'm missing something, because in the beginning it's really, really powerful for them and they're really, really motivated. But what's the underlying thing when we stop and aren't motivated to continue to do habits and goals and all of those other things? And it came down to, I was not tapping into their individual level of self-belief and self-worth. So, self belief is what we feel we're capable of achieving in the external world, and self worth is what we believe we're worthy of internally. And those two can butt heads a little bit sometimes, but they're two of the biggest pillars that through all of my coaching, everyone that I have worked with, all the women that I have worked with, I can see where those two are either supporting them or they need a lot of work to support their journey, any journey, but we'll stick to health. And so they didn't believe it was possible for them. So they've seen that it was possible for someone else, but they didn't believe it was possible for them or that it would be worth it. And so those things really matter. When I ask you, oh, do you believe this thing is possible? Someone's going to say, oh, yes. Do you believe it's possible for you? That hits a little differently. And if the answer is no, then that's the first barrier right there. And then convincing someone that it is worth it. It is worth it to be sustainable and consistent long term. I know we would all love this quick, sexy fix that is, oh, be pain free in 10 days or whatever it is, whatever that toxic positivity slogan marketing comes your way. But unfortunately, it's a long-term game, a lot of goals and a lot
Yep.
of journeys. And so when we can have small sustainable success, that helps not only build self-worth, but pours into our self-belief, or yes, belief as well. And so that was the first thing that needed to be addressed. And then self-worth. If we don't believe we're actually worthy of feeling healthy and feeling good, that is going to create a glass ceiling as well. And I know that sounds ridiculous. Logically, right here, we're like, well, of course I'm worthy of feeling healthy. Who isn't? But there's this part running in the back of our brain that actually deeply believes that we are not worthy of being healthy and thriving. And so assessing that level as well and bringing those components into anyone's journey that they are on has genuinely been life-changing to witness, not only in my own journey, but to help other people.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, yes. There's just so many thoughts because it is so true. Um, Learning to make trust deposits is what I call them. And so it's learning to do these little things, learning to trust yourself again, doing something small, like writing down, and we're gonna talk about gratitude in a second, but writing down three things you're grateful for. That's like a starting place, right? And then something that helps me, that has helped me, is reminding myself that future me is gonna be really grateful that I did the thing now, right? And so that helps me a lot too, because then I get to the future and I'll see that the thing is done and I'll be like, pass me, like, thank you, right? And so that's been really helpful to me with like, let's do it now instead of putting it off later, because future you is gonna be like, future is gonna come back. You're not gonna want to do the dishes. Like, let's do it now. And then when I get to the future, right, I still thank past me. And so it's still like this cycle of gratitude, right? But that's what I wanted to ask you next. Could you talk to me a little bit about the role that gratitude plays in this picture of like self-worth, right?
Absolutely. First of all, I love that lens that you use, past me, now me. Future me. Oh, I love that so much. I do that too. Like, oh, future me is gonna hate myself if I don't do this
Yes.
later. And then you're in the future, you're in that now present moment, and you're like, damn it, past me. But even that, even recognizing, hey, I would have done better if I had done this previously, that's the first step, right? That's the awareness. And then next time you're going to be like, oh, I was kicking myself last time that I didn't do this. Future me is going to be so happy about this. And so I love that lens. That's a really powerful lens to start looking at life through. I love that so much. So gratitude is actually something that's really important in my house. We all have a daily gratitude practice, even my boys. I homeschool, and my boys have a gratitude journal, and cute little, they're like made for kids. It's so sweet. And we all write in them every day. For me, gratitude keeps me in a state of abundance rather than scarcity. It's really easy to get into a space of lack and scarcity, especially nowadays. I mean, prices of everything are going up. Like there's so much to feel scarce about. But when you can have a gratitude practice, it really does help you stay in an abundant state. And especially if you can learn to bring it in from like a 24-hour perspective. What am I so grateful for that happened in the last 24 hours? And I love this tool because it primes our RAS, our reticular activating system in our brain. It primes it knowing that we are going to do gratitude every day. Your brain's like, oh, you are interested in this. I'm going to show you more of this because I know you're going to want to write it down tomorrow. And so you start just seeing more things you're grateful for, not just the three things that you write down in the morning or in the evening, however that works for you. And so, yeah, I deeply love gratitude. I think it's one of the deepest forms of self love as well, which does tap into self worth, absolutely. And of course, if you can do it every day in a sustainable way, so like 10 things might be too much, one thing kind of doesn't seem like it's worth it. So I always recommend 3 to 5. And if you can keep that up every day, then you're also going to tap into building self belief as well because you're keeping a promise that you make to yourself.
Yeah, that's the trust deposit. And the future me thing, by the way, I call that leaving surprises for myself because I'll do it and then I'll forget. And then I come back and I'm like, "Oh my God, it's done. Like you're amazing. Like thank you." So I call that leaving surprises for myself. And so I like to make it kind of fun, right? Because it can be like so overwhelming, when you have so many things. And so that just really has helped me like just stay in the game and stay on things, make it kind of fun so that I'm not like yelling at myself all the time, right? And so yes, I love that.
Mhm.
So talk to me a little bit more about your certifications, because you do certifications. So how does that work?
Oh, I mean, which one? My own personal certifications that I have done throughout
Well,
time?
you
Or
work with Next Level University,
I
right? So
do.
like you help people get certified in things. So can you tell me a little bit about that?
I mean, the main thing we do right now is we graduate people through group coaching. That's kind
Hmm.
of the main thing. We are slowly working on bringing out a coaching program for coaches to create holistic self-improvement coaches. So that's, I mean, really exciting, but that's definitely future oriented for sure. Right now, our biggest focus for external people outside of the team is group coaching. And so we take every quarter, because it takes 12 weeks to go through group coaching, we bring on 10 new people. We only take 10 because we like it to be extremely intimate so we can make sure we get to know everybody and help everybody, not only as a group, but as the individual as well. And originally it started as holistic self improvement. So we went through 6 modules, all focused on health, wealth, life, and love. Quality of life was a big one, but you're learning about fulfillment, self worth, self belief, all of these really beautiful things. But what Next Level University also does is they have this whole podcasting section of the business. And so, like, the guys have a daily podcast. Next Level University is a daily podcast. They have a podcast that comes out every day. And we now work with a lot of podcasters. They produce podcasts, and there's this whole section of the business. And so, what we've started doing for the last 2 rounds of group coaching is we've actually gotten all podcasters come in. And that's been really neat. So we've actually shifted the program for them. And so we actually do holistic self improvement for the first 2 sessions. And then the next two, it's grow your podcast. And then the next two are grow your business. So grow yourself, grow your podcast, grow your business. Because in the future, we really want to have 3 levels of group coaching. We want it to be holistic self improvement over here. We want you to have podcasting group coaching over here and business group coaching over here. And it's kind of Kevin, Allen, and myself. We're kind of all putting our flag in these 3 corners of this whole business. And so that's something that we're really excited about to look forward to as well. But me being a holistic self improvement coach has been working very closely with Alan himself, the CEO of Next Level University, and coming in from past coaching that I've done myself as well. But yeah, so there's a few I've done. I mean, acceptance and commitment therapy. I have my certification and diploma in registered massage therapy. That's the anatomy and physiology background there. There's, yeah, a bunch of things. I was a doula at some point. I did like my doula certification, and I've
Wow.
always really stuck with helping women. In my practice, when I was practicing, I did a lot of pre and postnatal care for women and pelvic balancing. And so it's always been this obsession with helping women grow and expand and learn. And when I found I loved educating more than I loved treating, that's when it all kind of shifted into different things.
Oh, that is amazing.
Hmm.
And that is just like a next level thing, right? Because then you get to share what you do with someone else and you get to impact so many more people through other people. That is amazing. So talk to me a little bit about when you're coaching your clients, we're working on our self-worth. What are some of the big tips that you have for them? Like what can you recommend for our listeners?
Oh, good question. So we have a framework and it's a simple pyramid. If you can picture a pyramid in your mind, and then it goes from the bottom to the top. We always want to build a solid foundation. And so the bottom foundation of the pyramid in this framework is keeping the promises you make to yourself, which is really beautiful, as you have just said in so many different amazing ways. I love your perspective on that, by the way. It's connected very deeply to self belief. So those two frameworks connect at the bottom, where keeping the promises you make to yourself is the bottom. The next one is boundaries, learning to hold healthy boundaries. And what I find is people get really upset that their boundaries are not being respected and they're not being listened to. And oh, I put a boundary out there, but someone didn't listen to me. They're not honoring my boundary. The biggest mistake people make when they're setting boundaries is they're actually setting rules instead of boundaries. There's a subtle difference. And so rules dictate other people. So if I'm in an argument with someone, let's say, I don't want to be in an argument, let's say we're in a healthy disagreement, and they start elevating their voice, or maybe they start calling me names, me setting a rule would be, hey, you can't talk to me like that. Knock it off. In reality, they kind of still can. I can't control what comes out of their mouth, right? So the boundary would actually be, hey, if you continue to speak to me this way, I am going to choose to leave this conversation. Boundaries dictate your behavior. And that's just you expressing what is going to happen if someone keeps interacting with you in an unaligned way. And so there's a subtle difference there. So instead of trying to control other people, because we really can't, we can have influence over people sometimes, but we can't actually control them. And so, how can you work on having more control over what is aligned with you and how you're going to interact in that space? That helps build self worth. The next one is courage, especially social courage. So, being who you are, saying what you want to say, doing what you want to do, those two, the boundaries and the social courage, go really hand in hand. And if you struggle with social courage, then boundaries are going to be really challenging for you, but they are both very important for building self worth. So, how can you learn to be a little more authentically yourself over and over again and speak your truth? And again, baby steps in all of this. We always want to expand out of our comfort zone, but only slightly into our growth zone. We don't want to step into the anxiety zone and slingshot ourselves back into our little comfort zone and convince ourselves that this is not for us out here. And so that's the third layer. The next one is investing in yourself. And I think people also, when they hear this, they think, oh, it would be so nice if I could invest in myself, spend thousands of dollars on a program, go on a ladies' weekend, whatever it is. No, I mean, yes, if you can do that, absolutely, go nuts. But it's daily. How are you investing in yourself every day? And it doesn't have to be monetary. So, someone listening to this podcast right now, that's them investing in themselves. That's them putting time and energy into listening to something really beautiful that could shift even just a small perspective in their day. So, how can you invest in yourself a little bit every day that's a sustainable way? Like me, I love making myself a really aligned tea every day. I have lots of teas throughout the day, but I make sure that one is very specific. What mug am I using? What herbs am I using? What does my body need right now? How am I going to sit and enjoy this and have it while it's hot instead of heating it up 6 times? That's me having a moment to invest in myself. Maybe it's a couple extra minutes in the shower. Maybe it's however it is. You're listening to an audiobook. You're taking a moment to listen to your favorite music and dance around a little bit. Like it doesn't have to be these big elaborate things, but it's a deposit you want to make every day. And then the last one, tip of the iceberg there, tip of the pyramid, is comparison. What is your relationship with comparison? Is it for inspiration or is it detrimental to you? So a lot of us are comparing to others in a detrimental way. We can use comparison in a super healthy, inspiring way, but most of us are doing it detrimentally. So, how can we look at someone and be inspired by them? Who can we be comparing ourselves to in a healthy way? I love using fitness as an example. So, if I'm on Instagram and I'm looking at someone who's 20 years old, 21 years old, who lives in the city. She's got a gym in her basement. She has no kids. Her job is whatever else it is. And she gets to go spend 3 hours in the morning at the gym, crushing her morning routine and all these other things. And I look at her and be like, man, I should be doing that. I suck because I don't do that. And it's like, well, one, I'm almost 40. I homeschool my children. We live on a dirt road in a small town that actually doesn't even have a gym. I'd have to go 45 minutes to get to the closest gym. So this is not someone I should be comparing to.
Yes.
Now, if I see someone on Instagram who is also pushing 40 who has children or is homeschooling her children and still manages to stay fit and honor her body with movement every day, that is someone I can be inspired by and look up to in a way. So, are you comparing apples to apples? We call it equal comparison, someone who is ahead of you in a way that feels really exciting and inspiring to you? Or are you comparing apples to friggin' broccoli and it's just not even the same? What are we doing? It's
Yeah.
detrimental. That is the pyramid of self worth. And if you can try and tap into each one of those things, not at once, it's not sustainable to change 5 things all at once, but
Yes.
going back and looking at what I just said, which one are you already excellent at? So keep thriving in that one. Don't pay too much attention to it. You're already doing it. And then which one do you see out of those 5 that needs the most work? And how can you make a like 1% improvement towards that so that it's sustainable each day?
I love that. I love that so much. And I want to remember like the big domino, like what you just said, is let's go to the one that's going to have the most impact, right? So
Yes.
like if you're right, like you can't go to the top of the pyramid if your self-worth is not currently available. Like it's not going to work. And so yeah, finding the big domino, but once we make that shift and once we topple down that big domino, like the change that happens is
Yeah.
like you can't even imagine. Like
Yeah.
it is
And the only
amazing and
way
it's
to make lasting change is genuinely through leveraging the compound effect, which you need to do. It's like that small thing every day. It's that saying 7 apples, 1 apple a day is better than 7 apples on Sunday. That is so true for so many things. So, how can we have the humility, the accurate self awareness to do something that is so small to start so that it is sustainable and we can build self belief and self trust by starting small and doing something every day, trusting that you can build on it as you need to.
yes, I was going to mention the 1% improvements that you mentioned. Every day, like when we compare, we just compare, like, did I do 1% better than yesterday? Then that's a win. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's a big deal because, like you said, baby steps. And if you do something every single day, if you record a podcast episode every single day, you end up the year, like exactly to your point, with 365 episodes. If you take a few days off, 350 episodes. That's still a heck of a lot of episodes, right?
Mhm. And what
And
that's
so
going to
yes,
mean is you're compounding the skill. You're getting the reps in. So even on the days of where you're not feeling your best, let's say you only have like 30% to give to your podcast that you're committing to do every day. Maybe it's like a quick 10-minute podcast or something every day, and you're committed to doing it. Well, you know what? Now your 30% after those 365 reps, your 30% is better than your 100% at the
yes,
beginning. So that's the beauty of the compound effect. You can show up and do better than when you started, even if you're not feeling your best or not feeling that energetically, however that looks, because our 100% genuinely looks different every day. It really does, especially as women. Our energies fluctuate, our even our abilities to articulate and connect with other people fluctuates with our cycle. We're just so different day to day. And so learning to trust that, even if not even trust, giving ourselves the permission and the grace to show up with, okay, I only actually have 40% to give today, but I'm going to give 100% of that 40% and be okay with that. So your 100% doesn't have to be the same every day. That perspective actually really helped me let go of that perfectionism mindset.
I love that. I love that. And I tell that to my clients all the time. They're like, I can't put this out because it's ugly. And I'm like, your ugly is so much better than what's out there, right? Like you're comparing yourself to this really high standard, and like it's already so good, and you're just picking out the little details. So like give yourself credit, right? And like you said, giving yourself grace. Because yeah, your 30% is better than your 100% used to be. Like I'm like, look how far you've come. Like, what are you talking about? All right. So, Amy, let me know, how can the audience stay in touch with you?
I mean, I'm all about Facebook and Instagram. I'm on there. You can message me anytime. Genuinely, I love talking about this with anyone. I do offer free connection sessions to start. Those are always free. And we do have a daily self-improvement Facebook group that anyone is welcome in. It's free as well. And we're in there just posting anything that's going to bring you more self-awareness, motivate you that 1% each day towards your goals. And that's just called Next Level Nation. And you have the link for that. So if you're looking for people who are also just dedicated to getting 1% better every day, or honestly, we're all about even 0.01% better every day. It all compounds over time. Whatever
Yeah,
that looks like for you, we're so celebratory of the individual journey. And so if you're just looking for like-minded people who like to grow just a teeny bit every day, then we would love to have you.
I love that. That is amazing. So be sure to check out Amy inside the group. That sounds like so much fun. And now, before we sign off, what is your big final juicy, like the tip that you give to your clients that's just like the revolutionary tip? Like, give it to us.
It genuinely would be learn to build your self-worth and self-belief.
I love it.
So tapping into that pyramid that I said earlier, and then self-belief is genuinely 3 steps. It's just state, prove, and self-assign. And so say you're going to do something, get it done, and then celebrate the fact that you did it. Like we said, it's not about perfectionism. It's not about giving it 100%. A lot of days, it's actually about just checking the box. Did you check the
Yeah,
box? Was it crappy? Whatever, do it again tomorrow. State, prove, self assign. That's celebratory. So, how can you increase your self belief and your self worth a little bit each day? And it genuinely will help you with any journey that you are on. Success is such an individual journey. And so, whatever success means to you, health, wealth, relationships, life, anything like that, those two are going to be pillars in that journey. And if you can learn to build those each day, you're going to be more successful.
I love that. That is amazing. And celebrate, yes, celebrate your wins. That's such a big deal.
So
Um,
important.
Yes, because we're so good at moving the goalpost, right? And then just being like, well, like I was already there, but that is what we need to celebrate. That's what we have to be grateful for. And so I love that. So thank you so much for joining us today, Amy. This has been amazing. And we will catch you guys next time on the next episode of Overcome Yourself, the podcast. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.